What's going on, everybody? Sammy here, corona free, still alive for the first half of 2020. And I'm back, finally, right? I know you guys missed me, it's alright. With a review of the XM Studios Spider-Man, a statue that's very long in the making. Been around, well, not been around, it's been in development when I first got into the hobby, about late 2017, early 2018. Those of you who've been around and those of you who've seen this from the very beginning know that it ended up a lot different than what was originally shown. Now, as a lot of you know, I had my, repainted Spider-Man statue that I liked a lot, and I had the Green Goblin as well. And I always liked the idea of, Spider-Man's one of my favorite characters, and what I like so much, or one of the things I like so much about Spider-Man is his extensive gallery of villains. He has, him and Batman are probably, I think, widely respected because of that, because of their expansive rogues gallery. And I always liked the idea of having a statue of Spider-Man that would incorporate several of his villains, because I'm not a millionaire and I don't have a huge house, so I can't fit a statue of Spider-Man and every single one of his villains in my room. So I was like, you know what, I want something that kind of incorporates a few of his villains, paint some kind of a scene, And nothing really, of course, a few statues that fit that bill have come out. But I've always followed the XM Spider-Man since I first got into collecting. It was one of the first Spider-Man statues I saw back when it was very different, and back when I didn't really know too much better. I was like, oh dude, this is incredible, I want this. This is the best statue I've ever seen. Of course, as I gained experience and insight into what makes a good statue, I kind of realized the early rendition of XM Spider-Man was not that great. It was the same idea, okay? It was the same idea. It was kind of a stone column instead of this what appears to be like an electrical plant. It was like a stone column, and Spider-Man was swinging off of it. The anatomy on that rendition of the statue was not that great. Spider-Man kind of looked like chubby. There was a battle damage portrait that didn't really do it for me, if I'm being honest. Well, not when I first saw it, I liked it, but they went back to the drawing board because, XM had this, they were well known at the time for, and still are, for their Spider-Man villains line, of which I had a few statues. I had Sandman, Electro, Venom, Carnage. I feel like I had a couple more, but I'm blanking. I had their Dr. Octopus on pre-order, actually. So they were really well known for, now X-Men is the name of the game for every studio, but back a few years back, XM was really pumping out those Spider-Man villains. And Spider-Man himself, people were kind of hoping that the statue that would bring this whole line together would be some knockout masterpiece hit. And then they showed that first prototype of Spider-Man, and people weren't really having it. I turned around to it and I was like, yeah, I don't like this that much anymore. So they went back to the drawing board, and I believe last year is when they showed this, like this new updated look at Spider-Man. And as you can see, it's the same concept, just executed a lot better, I think. Back the first prototype, I actually kind of liked this idea. I just didn't feel it was executed well. But the first rendition of the Spider-Man, the idea was that they would give you a bunch of different villain pieces to switch out, and you could kind of create your own battle scene. They had the Doc Ock tentacles. I don't think those were removable, actually, because Spider-Man pegs into them, and I think he did in the prototype as well. But they had, Scorpion's tail. They had some Venom symbiote. They had those pumpkin bombs. I think they had Sandman. I'm not sure, though. But the idea was that you would be able to switch out and create your own scene. People weren't a big fan of the statue in general. Went back to the drawing board, came with this, and now these villain pieces are, you don't switch these out. These are, this is a scene you get. You get Doc Ock, Sandman, Green Goblin, and I always kind of saw this base as an Electro homage or tribute, because it it's obviously, you know, some kind of power plant kind of thing. So you could say there's elements of 4 villains on this statue, which is pretty cool. Now, even this version, people aren't a huge fan. Well, I don't want to say people in general are not a huge fan of it, but the biggest complaint is that people say that the pose, you know, for example, the pose isn't good. And this is honestly kind of why I wasn't originally gonna do a review on this when I got it, because no picture, no video can really tell you how this thing looks. This is a 3-dimensional diorama-esque statue. You know, it's not a premium form. Well, I don't want to say there's some PFs that are dynamic. I'm not trying to make, you know, like a dig at any company. I'm just saying that this isn't, you know, this isn't like a museum pose or like slightly dynamic. This isn't like the Spider-Man premium format that I had. You know what I mean? This is a 3-dimensional. This is like a snapshot of a battle ripped out of a comic book. That's how I see it. I mean, something like this you would see in a comic book easily, definitely. And because of how dynamic everything about this statue, you know, it's not just Spider-Man. You know, over here, Doc Ock's just breaking through the metal on the base, wires everywhere, Sandman's creeping up, bombs flying. It's not just Spider-Man, excuse me. That's dynamic here. It's the entire thing. And as a result, this is the kind of statue that you really need to look at from in person to appreciate. And it's really only gonna do it for you from certain angles and certain heights. You know, Spider-Man's swinging up, or, you know, at least looking up, so displaying him super high up wouldn't work. You know, most statues you could display up high and be fine, but this statue up high would not look great. Or down low, but I don't really like displaying statues low anyway. I feel like that's a kind of like spitting on their face. Here you go, stay on this bottom shelf. I feel like waist height is the prime viewing angle for this piece. Now, enough backstory. What do you get with this statue? You get 3 different looks, right? You get the Ramita Eyes over here, which is what I have equipped. I actually like this a lot more than I thought I was going to. I have my favorite, which I'll show you, but these are the Ramita Eyes. I'm not actually going to switch out these torsos. They switch out the torso because to hide this, you know, ugly ass neck seam that would be there if they didn't switch out the torso. So good on XM for doing that. I think that was a good touch. I feel like other companies probably wouldn't have cared, and they said, you'll buy it anyway. Now, you also get the Mcfarland Eyes, which seems to be the most popular among the people that own this statue. And I like it. I like all 3 looks. This one's just not my favorite. The torsos are light too, which I imagine they kind of need to be light. You don't want this thing being super heavy, but these torsos are like, this was the first thing I took out of the box when I got it, the torsos, and I was like, wow, this is light. So you get Mcfarland Eyes, and you get my favorite, which is the battle damaged head. This is actually one of the main reasons I wanted this statue, because the battle damaged portrait was, I think this is one of the best battle damaged portraits ever, honestly. The original one actually didn't look that great. It kind of looked like this with his mouth exposed, but think of the entire top half of the mask still being on there. It literally was just his mouth that was exposed, and I thought that looked really weird. So I'm glad they changed it, because, you know, the scratches on his face, there's even like some red. You can tell, you know, you're fighting 3, 4 of your villains at once. There's gonna be some damage. Now, I'm kind of echoing off what a couple people already brought up before, but I agree with this, right? If you're gonna give us 3 separate torsos and one of them has a battle damaged head, why not, you know, extend the battle damage to the torso a little bit too? Because that would have been kind of cool. You know, you have 2 clean looks, and then if you want to go complete battle damage, they could have scratched the torso up some more. You know, but then I understand, you could make the argument, then why wouldn't the pants be battle damaged? So I get it, but it still would have been a cool touch. That's it in the way of switch outs. You just get those 3 torsos. You also get an extra piece of this small web in case you lose that one, which is good. It's not going to fall out or anything, but it is a small piece. You could lose it. So I mean, yeah, I don't know what else I can really say. It's a really nice statue. It's not going to be for everybody. You know, this isn't a statue this isn't a statue you put in a display with like a bunch of other pieces. This is like a standalone kind of piece. You know, I have this in my room right now on the Calyx where I had Spider-Man and Green Goblin. I just have him. I have the art print, a couple of slabs, some posters. You know, I don't see myself needing another statue to go with this. This tells enough of a story to me. This tells a story, and I don't really need anything else to go with it. You know, it's art. I like art anyway. I like to display my pieces with art, so that's already kind of a thing for me. But you know, I'm a big fan of companion pieces. You know, as Punisher and Elektra, and then Daredevil coming. I have the Batman figures. You know, I had Spider-Man and Green Goblin, but for me, this is honestly all I'm gonna need, Spider-Man wise. I could see myself trying to buy back the Green Goblin PF in the future, just because I think that's an incredible statue, and I think it would go well with this. But I really don't think this needs a companion piece. I think this is done very well. I think the dynamic pose, I think just from an engineering standpoint, deserves praise. I mean, this is a statue of Spider-Man swinging away from, I mean, look how he pegs into Doc Ock's tentacle, the web, which I thought the web was going to be like a flexible wire kind of thing, but it's not. So be careful because that web string piece can break. I thought it was flexible. It's not. I don't know why it's not. Should be, but it's not. But yeah, it's a great statue. Make sure you have the right viewing angles and heights to really appreciate it at. Don't expect this to be a statue that you're going to like surround with a bunch of other pieces. This is a statue you're going to buy and you want to care for it, which I realize sound weird, but like most people buy statues, stick them in their shelf and call it a day. This is one that you're going to buy and you want to appreciate it because there really is so much going on here. And I think that it's a waste to kind of put this low up high behind glass or something and just forget about it. This is a statue that, you know, I'm repeating myself, but you want to appreciate it. Anyway, that's all for this one. I don't know when the next statue... I ordered the Iron Studios Daredevil, which was supposed to be shipping around this time, but, you know, Corona's pushing everything back. So now it's saying October to December, so I might get it then. I'll do a video on that then. That's the next piece coming in. Yeah, until next time, guys, I appreciate you watching. I've said just about all there really is to say. You know, like, for example, this angle right now is doing it perfectly for me, but this whole time, when you guys are looking at it, it's probably perfect, but I'm looking at it the way, like this, and it doesn't look that great, you know what I mean? You just have to find the right angle. So yeah, appreciate you guys watching. I hope you enjoyed it. There's not many videos on the statue out there, surprisingly, so hopefully you find mine, or hopefully you learn something from mine and appreciate it. And yeah, until next time, guys, I appreciate you watching. Have a good one. Stay safe. 2020 is coming for us all, so just be safe out there. All right, see you guys.